Just waiting for it to show up.
Oh god, I know we just closed everything.
Do y'all see video?
Not yet. It still says waiting for Riley Mo. Maybe I need to refresh it.
That's a good point. I'm going to refresh it too. It still tells me that I'm waiting for myself.
Oh, no, it's up. I can see it, I think. I can see it. Jay says we're up and running. Yeah, well, live apparently.
This is like a 2-minute delay. Wait, somebody's saying it's live.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Well, there we go. Now I can see it. Awesome. All right, cool. Now we can start. All right, everybody. What's going on? Welcome to another installment of Omnibros Live. This week, I am your host, Riley, the omnibus collector, more Omnibro guy, person, thing. And I am bringing to you guys one of our regular panelists and a special guest this week. As always, we've got Jess with us, the Omnidog.
Woohoo! Hit him with a hind. Good day, mate.
And our special guest this week, because Luis is actually hitting up MegaCon with Gabe right now, and some other members are going to be there too from the Facebook group. We've got Mr. Mitch O'Brien with us, who's one of our fellow admins from the group and a good friend of mine from several years back.
What are you eating, Mitch?
Of course I'm eating Vegemite on toast.
Give us a good look.
It looks disgusting, but it's not.
And do you have butter under that?
Of course I have butter under that.
Okay. Take it easy. Just take it easy. I'm just asking questions.
So
I'm rare.
Mitch is hailing, of course, from Australia and kind of inspires the topic of tonight, which is Australia. And we're going to be talking about all things geek that have to do with Australia. Of course, with a perspective from Mitch being, an Australian himself, growing up in the country with the comics that are published there. And just, he'll let us know what it's like, what the con scene's like, what it's like to have to buy super expensive comics because Australia is expensive. And other things, and we're just gonna all around geek out. So
geeks,
totally
proud to be a geek.
So I don't know if Mitch, do you want to give a introduction to yourself before we head into our regular programming?
I mean, I guess everyone already knows me pretty much. So this is what I look like. I'm not a drawing that I think it was Nathan drew me. I feel bad now because I can't remember who drew that. But yeah, so this is me, and this is my humble. I mean, there's more to it, but say.
I'll interview you. How old are you?
Is a typical issue.
How old are you, and how long have you been collecting?
I'm 27. 27 this year, and I've been collecting for probably about 10, 12 years now, on and off.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just gonna talk about my first comics, I guess.
Oh, are we gonna talk about our first comics or Mitch's first comics?
I mean, I'm just not good at introducing myself.
I know. I'm trying to pull the goddamn answers out.
Maybe we can do that after the regular scheduled, our hauls and our what we've read this past week, and then we'll start asking. We're just going to bombard Mitch with questions. We'll get fun. Himself and about Australia.
Fun.
But before we go, I had to wear the appropriate attire.
There
we go.
Is that Mad Max stuff?
It's Immortan Joe.
Of course it is. I told you I was going to be peak Australian in this show.
So
I even have my jar of Vegemite.
It's got your name on it? How'd you swing that?
Yeah, I got it. I got it for Christmas.
That's cool. I've had
So-
Vegemite a lot, so I know how good it is.
It is good. Jay in the chat saying it's not. So, I mean, you know.
Well, you're going to get all kinds of opinions.
Maybe
All that matters is us. I
said
say
I'd
it's
find him.
good.
I think maybe Jay didn't eat it with butter.
Right.
Because that I know that you said that's what a lot of like non-Australians, like Americans and stuff, do is they'll eat it just Vegemite on the bread without putting the butter.
Yeah, and they'll put a load. They'll put loads on. You don't put loads on. You put a
Wait,
nice.
Jay doesn't understand. Jay says he had Marmite, which is a completely different, disgusting thing.
Yeah, that's
Vegemite's much better.
Well, what is Marmite from? Like what is that? Because I've never had that. I've had Vegemite though.
I think Marmite's British. It was like a British take on Vegemite, and then it just sort of made its way out, and everyone was like, "No." So I think it's the poor man's Vegemite.
Yeah, it's just like
No,
salty yeast spread where Vegemite has a real taste to it.
And yeah, like I said, people always just like lather it on, and you just got to do like what Hugh Jackman did on, I never know what talk show it was, but he actually did it live on air and told everyone how to do it properly. You just put a light smear across it. You don't want to overdo it.
Yeah, it's not something you take a big spoonful of. Now, how about fairy bread? Did you have any fairy bread today?
I didn't have any sprinkles. Or wait, what do you? So, whatever they're called. We got to talk about all the cultural differences now.
Right.
Like I'm drinking this water. I don't know if you guys have that.
Water?
Oh my!
I'm drinking root beer out of my Dr. Strange glass.
I'm
just go.
drinking dihydrogen monoxide or whatever.
People that say you need more water are perpetrating a hoax, and they don't own stock in soda companies. So that's why I drink nothing but soda.
I've been getting a lot of migraines, so I'm pretty sure that I've been dehydrated.
Oh.
Yeah, you didn't know it. Oh yeah, and it's 10 a.m. instead of midnight or whatever over there.
It's 8 p.m.
It's 7 p.m. for me, so it's still bright and early.
Yeah, it's way bright and early. So it's already tomorrow there. Where's my hoverboard?
Yep.
Where's my hoverboard?
You have to email In Stock Trades about that. Scanned it and haven't shipped it yet. Well, I always like doing that. Everyone knows I'm from the future. Always goes, "Oh, what's the sport pick or the lottery numbers or something?" But I've got no information on that, so I'm sorry.
Like you're that? Was it Chip from Back to the Future or whatever his name was?
Yeah, Biff, the almanac.
Biff, that's right. Biff.
I'm trying to.
I guess you guys start.
I'm looking at Marmite versus Vegemite and trying to see what the difference is here.
Marmite.
Jay's asking why my money's so colorful.
Why you're?
Wish I had some. My currency, like the Australian currency.
Oh, is it really colorful?
Yeah, it's like $5 is like pink, $10 is blue, 20 is orange, 50's yellow. It's pretty crazy.
That's cool.
And like they're made of like plastic.
Plastic.
Yeah, they're like a
money.
Yeah, not paper. So
seriously,
different.
are you yanking my chain like the time with the giant egg?
No, seriously, Google it. Google it. I wish I had like cash on me. I could have shown you. I don't have any sitting around. I'm not a millionaire like Riley.
What? No, I'm not.
Riley, he throws around $100 bills like they're nickels, man. He just is like he's at a strip club.
I don't even throw around nickels like they're nickels.
Good point.
5-cent piece. Jeez.
$5. Should I go proper peak Australian and do some proper lingo for you guys?
Do you want to save that for after we do our hauls and read?
Yeah, we'll do the thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll go in order. I don't want to mess up the show.
We'll hammer you then.
Hey, we already got a comment that's a reference to the Simpsons episode.
Where is that? I didn't see that one.
Have you ever gotten the boot?
Oh, the boot. Have you ever
No.
gotten the boot?
It's honestly that episode is probably the most quoted episode in Australia because we love it down here. We just love the parody of us. So yeah, if you guys want to start.
Yeah, let's go right into this. This is still early. Like we've been starting way late. So this is
yeah.
for us. But yeah, let's jump right into talking
your
about.
guest. You do what you need.
No, this is the most on time we've ever been. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's been forever since we started, and I'm going to be able to finish on time, which means Megan's not going to get upset with me for staying like really late.
Mitch and I are going to screw that up for you. We're going to make you stay late.
Well, then
we're going to make it a 3-hour show.
Megan will yell at y'all.
Oh, I don't want that.
Well, who wants to start? Who wants to talk about their?
Are we talking about hauls?
I'll let you
Are we
go.
talking about hauls first or reading first?
Let's do hauls.
Mine's quick, so I'll just buzz. Why don't I just buzz through mine? Because I got what everybody got. I got Amazing Spider-Man Morbius cover.
Infamous cover.
And Invincible 11. And it was a light week for me. Wonder Woman Omnibus by Perez, #2. That's it. That's all I got. I know. I'm a loser. I only got 3
what a
books.
light haul.
I know.
Mitch, did you grab anything this past week?
Not the past week, but generally like my last month of purchases. So I guess if that counts, if I'm
Sure
to do that. I traded one of the guys, one of the Aussie guys in our group, and got Scalped 5. Finished the set. One of my all-time favorite comics.
Nice.
And then I was in Melbourne. That's right, Melbourne. And hanging out with Sherlock, our other admin, and Ben, one of our other Aussie members. And I've grabbed the Gillen. I don't know if you guys can see that. The Gillen, Uncanny X-Men set. Because I've been wanting to get the companion to Wolverine and the X-Men, Jason Aaron set. So this goes along with that. And then also got the pre-Schism Breaking Point issue or volume. And then I got Secret Avengers, Warren Ellis one. Came just in a padded, not even a padded envelope from overseas. I don't know if you can see it. There was a hook here that was literally bent upright. So that there's a Australian comic regular when you buy online over here. That's just a common thing. And then
Sherlock says you guys are used to getting just books beat to hell all the time.
Oh, yeah. One of my worst ones was when I bought the Ultimate Spider-Man on me. I got it from Amazon, and the book was actually hanging out of the box because the box had a giant hole in it. So when I got it, the book was like this, and if you look, like that basically was bent. I sort of fixed it a bit, and it just was dented to hell. So I was like, well, that's just how it is. So,
God, everybody here would have a heart attack if there was like a tiny nick in their package.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is what it is. I've got the book, but it was the whole corner of the box was just gone, and the whole corner of the omnibus was making up the corner of the box. And then, my last 2 big grabs was the War Kings set.
Oh, nice.
Which I finally started reading after having Annihilation for 3 years now, since it came out. And then, my last 2 ones were Uzumaki. Uzumaki. Wow, they're backwards books. I'm so not used to them. So, yeah, pretty keen to check these out. that's it.
Nice.
It was my last month
a good
or so.
haul.
Thank you.
Well,
Oh, and
yes.
I just got those the off eBay. I just got that awesome deal of Animal Man 4, 5, 6 for like $30
I saw
shipped.
that.
So that's a plus.
So now you just, I think they have, there's a volume 7 would conclude
and then
what they've released so far.
So we're just waiting on 8.
Unfortunately, yeah, unfortunately 8. I don't know if they're even going to do it, honestly.
No, I don't think that. Although it's DC, so.
I wonder if I've got 7. I don't even know if I have number 7.
It's really thick, isn't it? Or is 6 really thick? I know one of them's like super thick.
6 is thick, but 7's even thicker, and it's. Yeah. I'll just grab them. It's titled Red Plague.
Oh, yeah. Whoa! I totally don't have those. Wait, let me click on you so I can see that again. Can you show me that again real quick? Oh yeah, no, I don't even have those. Oh, that's from
Jamie Delano's run is concluded with volume 7. And then I probably mentioned this on the show before, but after Delano it was like a 10-issue run by Jerry Prosser, I believe was the name, that concluded the whole series, but they never republished it in collection. Like they just stopped after Delano's run for some reason. In normal DC form, they just don't conclude stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So unfortunate about that. And it was a decent little run. I will say I don't think it really wrapped up necessarily. It kind of, if I recall, was left dangling a little bit, but overall it was an enjoyable conclusion to the series in a way.
Kind of like Deadwood, if anyone knows that reference.
I've never seen Deadwood, but I know what you're talking about.
They did a season 3, it ended, and then between season 3 and 4 they got cancelled. So there was just like this nothing where nothing happened.
But I know they said they're supposed to be doing a movie.
Yeah, supposedly. The script's done, apparently. So one of my Aussie friends, I always mess up his name, so I'm sorry, Rory or Rory, is asking me to talk about 2000 AD. 2000 AD.
He mentioned it.
I mean, I have some books, but nothing new. Just Strontium Dog and Zenith. Yeah. Someone's asking me left of the bookshelf. So the white one, that's actually a sketch my friend drew for my birthday of The Walking Dead, and it's the governor attacking the prison. Yeah, I'll do it. Quickly show it off if I can. So it's like governor, and then Rick down the bottom, just killing zombies.
And where'd you get? What is that?
That's a sketch my friend drew for my birthday.
Oh, cool.
So, because he knew I love like the whole prison arc of Walking Dead. That whole attack is probably my favorite arc in that whole book. So he decided to draw me, and I was like, "This is just awesome, dude." I love it when people give me things like art that they've worked on. It just means so much more to me personally.
Yeah, it's really fucking awesome drawing.
That is.
He's actually like gotten better from that too, because that was from like a few years ago. He's getting better as well, so I keep supporting him, and I'm just like, draw more, please. Anyway.
That's cool.
Let me run through very quickly like the things that I bought, and then we can talk about what we have read. Today, I bought 2 non-comic book things. Number 1, the shirt that I'm wearing. It's a Golden Girls t-shirt. That says "Stay Golden" on it.
As Colin O'Neill would say, that's mint.
It is.
Did you see the Jason Latour sketch of the Golden Girls?
The what?
The Jason Latour sketch of Golden Girls?
I'm about to look it up.
Yeah, he did I think he was going to make a shirt out of it. It's pretty awesome. He was going to do something with it.
Well, I got that from Target. I think, I just found it. Nice.
Oh, you do love the Target t-shirt department.
They have so many good t-shirts, and it was only $12. And I was in there grabbing the next item, which was the Blu-ray of Logan. So I had to get that, and I saw I was like, you know what, let me stop by the t-shirts, and I saw this sitting there, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to buy it. Like, I want a fucking Golden Girls shirt, so what?
You're rocking it, man.
I love it. I want to wear it as much as possible, and then my wife could wear it too because she turned me on to the Golden Girls. So
nice.
And then let's see. Next, the books that I got. First book, starting with my small book and going to the big books. Start with Berserk Volume 30. I am not on Volume 30 yet, but this was the last volume I needed. In-stock trades did not have it in stock whenever I was originally ordering everything. And I checked every single week until they finally got it in stock like last week. So cool stuff there. I'll eventually get to that probably in the next couple weeks. Star Wars Epic Collection, The Rebellion, Volume 2. This collects the latter part of Brian Wood's Star Wars series that was set directly after A New Hope. As well, it has Empire numbers 19 through 27 and material from Star Wars Kids 1 through 20. So pretty decent stuff inside here. It's set, all these stories are meant to be set between episodes 4 and 5. Next is Iron Man Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. The Complete Collection. This one collects Iron Man numbers 15 through 32 of the series that preceded Matt Fraction's run. So this follows after Warren Ellis's material. And I bought a book like a month or so back whenever Jess was here. I had found this one, Program. This leads directly into the material here. I'm kind of annoyed that they didn't just include all of it in there together because it's only like 6 more issues to tack on to a already thick book. So I don't see why they wouldn't have done that, but whatever. At least I found that trade paperback, so now I can read that whole series. I've never read the latter stuff, and I've heard some decent things about the material that was in here.
Do you consider yourself a big Iron Man fan?
I'm a fan, but I wouldn't say a big fan. I've read a lot of the more popular arcs or runs from him. But he's not a character that I've actively followed and tried to collect everything like I have with the X-Men or Spiderman.
I've read no Iron Man hardly at all.
I definitely I think that the two that most people will run after for modern stuff is Warren Ellis's Extremis arc, as well as the Matt Fraction storyline. Matt Fractions kind of falls down about halfway through. It just kind of goes down in quality. It ended pretty decently, though. I think it was a pretty decent ending. After that, I think it was Gillen and then Tom Taylor, who is a Australian creator. And then after Tom Taylor is the Bendis stuff. So just some a modern run through of Iron Man stuff. But before the modern, the most popular I would say is arguably the David Michelini. Hold on one second. Where is it?
Yeah, I have that book.
Michelini, Layton, and Romita Jr. They did stuff like Demon in a Bottle, Armor Wars, and stuff like that. So those are some of the bigger storylines from Iron Man.
I should read.
Yeah, I've got the Star Wars Epic. I just had to check that one. Yes.
And then next book, another paperback. I've got Green Arrow Volume 8, the 8th and penultimate volume of Mike Grell's Green Arrow. This one has issues 63 through 72. I believe his run ended with 80. So I'm very impressed that DC is one volume away from releasing that entire run. Knock on wood, they don't fuck it up.
Yeah, they won't release it.
Wonder Woman by George Perez, Volume 2. Many things annoy me about this book, including the price for the number of pages is pretty high, although I would have paid for it anyway just because of George Perez's artwork. And also the second thing, because it has the different logo on the side.
Right.
And Volume 1 was not labeled Volume 1 at all, so they look kind of mismatched next to each other. Minor gripes though.
These are American gripes.
Yeah, this is first world comic problems. Last but certainly not least, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 3 with the Morbius cover, same as Jess. Shout out to Emily at IST for telling everyone whenever they got new stock of this book in so that more people could get it. I did get it during the first wave, so I wasn't too worried about it, but I was really still appreciative that she let everyone else know.
Yeah, I don't know way about that she just came in on her own accord and posted that for us. Like, that was great.
Yeah, and we gulped up both notices. I think we were the ones, that group, that just gulped them both runs up. So she made a specific post just to us. That was really amazing.
And I know someone asked her, said something about, like, is she cheating on us with another group or something? Like, tell someone and anyone else about this? And she's like, no, of course not. She's staying loyal.
Awesome.
So it was cool. It was really cool of her.
That is really cool.
It was a good reaction to that as well. So I'm glad that they were able to help people out. But that's it for what I got this week. So we can jump into what y'all have read. Go in the same order. So
sorry, Russ. I just remembered when I was in Melbourne, I went to a con and met Asad Ribic. And I forgot to show you all. Yeah, this print he did exclusively for the con, which is just amazing.
Wow.
So,
how many prints were made of that?
I'm not too sure. It doesn't actually have a number, but it just says, limited edition print for that con. So I think he was only selling them at 2 shows, and that was it.
Right. So, beautiful.
Sucks if you all want one.
That's awesome.
Something the Australians have that you guys don't.
Bastard. I'm going to come to Australia and kick your ass for that, Mitch.
I'll pick you up at the airport.
Okay.
Am I wearing my business sock? I'm not sure.
We're going to go over what we read.
So, business socks.
It's business time. Yeah, you guys start or I start? I've got a pretty small one, so if you want me to go.
Sure, go ahead.
We'll do the same order.
Oh, same order? Did I go?
No, Mitch, then Jess.
Mitch, okay, good.
Yeah, so I haven't been reading much because I've had some stuff going on, but I read Smash Through the Goddamn not long ago. I bought this. I bought the first issue, issue at a. God, I can't talk. I bought the first issue at comic shop I was at, which is big because over here single issues are ridiculously expensive. They're about, I think for a $3.99 issue, it's about $8 to $9 just for one. So this single issue cost about, I think it was $7.50.
What, for a floppy? That's what it cost?
For one floppy, just one floppy. Yeah. So when I get a series that I really like, I always try to buy the first issue, try it out, and also sort of support it a little bit. So I got the first issue of The Goddamned, and then I could not wait for the volume to come out. So as soon as I got it, I read it in one day, and it's exactly what I wanted out of a Jason Aaron, R.M. Guerra Bible. And then I went through some more paperbacks. I've just decided to go paperback route for some of these books, like Deadly Class. Pumped through that really quickly too. Really great book, and I think it definitely lives up to the hype. And Wicked Divine. This was, I don't know, it was weird. Like, I actually talked to the admins when I read it in our admin chat. I think it was Matthew sung its praises and helped me sort of not understand it, but sort of gain a new respect for it in a way, because there's a lot of stuff going on in that book that if you aren't in the know about what they're actually trying to achieve with the book. But it's great. I can't wait to read more. I think it's one of those books, like a Hickman book, that the more you read in succession, the more you'll get out of it. So like that would benefit from a solid read through once it's all collected. And then I'm currently working through Annihilation Conquest. I just finished Annihilation under Conquest, and I'm going to work through the my cosmic books. Like I said, I've been waiting for 3 years since I got Annihilation to finally read that entire thing when I bought the DNA Guardians, and then they said they were going to print them, so I sold the DNA Guardians and all that confusion that happened around that. But looking through Annihilation Conquest. Have you guys read Conquest at all?
Mm-hmm.
I have not.
I just finished the Wraith mini, and that character is like some hardcore edginess right there.
It's too edgy.
Like, I don't want to spoil it, but it's so he's like just this. To give you the premise, is he like a character from something, like, or was that a new creation at all? Like,
I don't remember. I know that whenever I read it, I think I felt the same, that it was an original creation, is at least what I got from that. But I don't know.
Yeah, because it's just this, like, he's just literally like an undead, I think, Kree, and he rides like a space motorbike and has a whip, and like just is like trying to find the killer of his parents, and it's just super, like, he's like a ghost and he has like apparitions around him and stuff. It's just super sort of, it's good, but it's like completely out of what the cosmic has been up until that point, I feel. Not bad, not in a bad way. It's just like you've got, very much like space politics and all this, and all of a sudden there's this guy who's like, my parents were dead and I'm gonna, like, like it's super like edgy sort of like 90s Spawn stuff, and I'm like, okay, that's cool.
It's fun, but it's definitely out of place.
Like it deals with the whole Ronin thing, but like, yeah, just kind of random. So yeah, back onto the Nova issues, which have been fantastic, and they've just introduced the Nowhere and the celestial head that the Guardians eventually call home. So that's what I've been reading.
I have to do my cosmic read through starting in the fall. So I haven't.
You've got Annihilation?
I do, yeah, and I've got everything that I need to do the cosmic read through, but I'm starting that in the fall.
Annihilation's like good, but it is definitely not the best of the so far set. And I think it's funny that it's considered a whale, but it's not that great, as compared to other whales like Uncanny X-Force or whatever. But
who's that?
Ew.
Who's interrupting?
I guess I'll just leave then. See you guys.
Who's the uninvited guest that just popped in and is not saying anything?
What's up, guys? What's up? Look who up. Hey,
are you at the con right now?
What's going on, everybody?
Well, we've got two uninvited nerds.
Bunch of nerds.
We've got twice the boldness of someone.
So who's winning?
That's
right.
We're here with ladies too. Now what? we got chicks and meat. Wait, that came out wrong, or did it come out right?
How many drinks are you guys in?
Your guys' video is acting like it's been the one drinking.
So what's going on, guys? I can't really hear you. We're at this place.
You need to speak up. We can't hear you.
What?
Look at this.
I think we're at a place called the Salty Pig.
He just put his phone down and forgot.
The Polite Pig.
Salty Pig. That's what I got. They're at the Salty Pig.
No, we're at the Polite Pig.
Yeah.
The Polite Pig.
Salty Pig's next door.
One pig's polite and the other one's like, fuck you.
Yeah, it was easy fucking food.
So what's the topic tonight?
Australia.
Why Luis is a dick.
Me.
That's not that far of a stretch. It's very apparent.
The dingo stuff.
It's everything.
Someone said he's using it.
The topic. What, are you juggling your phone or what's going on?
I'm in the Polite Pig. I can't hear you.
What'd you call for then?
So let you guys know that we're still alive and we're here.
Oh, okay.
And Gabe is actually taking me kidnapped. Help me, please. Somebody help me right now.
Okay.
Polite Pig.
That was one of our better tangents. That was way out there. I'll tell you what I read,
That was our favorite.
and I'll give a quick review of everything I read. I read a Humanoids book, Different Ugliness, Different Madness. This book was fantastic. I loved it. It's great. It's about a woman who is on a search kind of for herself, and it's set in the 30s. She's running away sort of from a problem and trying to figure her life out. She encounters a guy that's incredibly ugly, but it turns out he's one of the most famous radio stars of the time, and it talks about their relationship. This book is freaking fantastic. Let me just show you some of the art in it. It's all black and white, but really bold strokes. It is really great. This was, let me see if I can find some more representative pictures. I mean, this guy just can draw with and uses black so well in it. And it's a French book, but it was adapted to translated, and it translates well because it's dealing with all things American radio and American television. It's told in a flashback, jumps around in timelines, but it's not a hard timeline to follow. So I reviewed this book for my channel, and I loved it. I just absolutely loved this book. So it gets the Omnidog seal of approval right there. Then I read Veil by Greg Rucka, and I did not really dig it. I thought it was kind of a thinly written book. It could have been fleshed out a lot more. It's nothing we haven't read before. I was really disappointed because I love Greg Rucka. Just love him. I think he and Ed Brubaker are my two favorite writers. And I was just really disappointed. It wasn't anything interesting or exciting or innovative at all. So I was kind of bummed out about that one. Batman Two-Face, Face to Face. This had really interesting art from a guy that I had never seen before, Don Kramer. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. This takes place right after 52. So I guess it's 1 year later or whatever, and Two-Face is in charge of Gotham. Batman comes back and takes his place. I enjoyed this book. I haven't read 52, but I do know that the main characters were absent for a year, and if you haven't read 52, you can still enjoy this book. Because are you reading it?
I actually have the old printing of that, the paperback.
Oh, you do? Okay.
And I just wanted to show you guys my favorite thing about it.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so I sort of just open it up and it just
flops right out. Oh,
straight out of there. So, but I mean, that's still together.
And that doesn't upset you?
Yeah, whatever. I can still read it though. Like, it's still together. Yeah, it's just,
sure.
Whatever. But is that's the one with Two-Face is no longer scarred and then becomes scarred again? Is that
correct?
Right?
In the book, he is he's gotten surgery and undergoes psychological treatment, and Batman leaves him in charge of Gotham for a year. And somebody's killing the B-list criminals in Gotham. People think it's Two-Face, and so I like this book because there's a lot of the world's greatest detective, which is what Batman used to be known as. So there's a lot of investigating into the mystery, and I thought it was really, I liked it. There's a bit about Two-Face looking in the mirror a lot, and the mirror talks back to him, which is a really lame bit. But other than that, I enjoyed the book a lot. Here's a book that sucked. Savage Highway from Humanoids. Mike Ashley sold me this book, and god damn it, I want my money back from him. I was really disappointed with this. This was a post-apocalyptic tale. The only thing interesting in it is that a comet blew up the moon, and when you look in the sky, the moon is in pieces. And that's
cool.
And that's the only cool thing about it, is that the moon is in pieces, if you can see it there.
That's one panel. One panel is the only good redeeming factor of that
you see
entire
the
book.
moon, it's in pieces, and that's like the only good thing. It's just it's got every
Just imagine-
it's got every post-apocalyptic trope in it. It's just it's a bunch of savage men raping women, and what women are, chattel, and it's just random fights thrown in. The artwork's pretty. The artwork's pretty, and there's a nice twist at the end, but I mean, it's not. It's just, I don't know. It's a mess. It just didn't go anywhere, and I could not give this less of a reception. I wouldn't even. This goes into the pile with the Batman written by Kevin Smith. I mean, I wouldn't even give it away. I wouldn't do that to somebody. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't donate it to a library or give it to a friend free. I wouldn't even pay somebody to read it. It's just god awful. I just didn't dig it at all. A couple of books that I did dig were the latest Black Widow, No More Secrets, and Shield's Most Wanted. These were good. The only problem I had with them is I realized that I should have read Edmondson's run before this, which would have I would have enjoyed it more had I read Edmondson's run before it, which I will now do. But it was really cool. I dug both these books. Black Widow was the strong female protagonist that I like. It was great, but I think this week I will tackle Edmondson's run. And I started my Hellboy readathon. I started early. I was going to start June 1st, but I decided that Memorial Day weekend is the start of summer. So I read Hellboy Library Edition #1, and it's, of course, great. Like, Hellboy is great, and supposedly it gets even better than the first book. So I've started my readathon in that, and I'm very excited. I've got pretty much all the books necessary for the readathon. I don't have the In Hell books yet, but I can wait to catch up on those. And most importantly, my daughter texted me this. She knows I'm on the show right now, and she said, "Oh, tell everybody I said hi, nerds." So from my daughter, she says hi.
Well, hello, Jess Jr.
She is a junior version of me.
Is that everything?
That's everything I read, yeah.
Jess always reads like 1,000,000 books.
No, I was just
And it
thinking.
makes me feel really bad.
I know.
I just love the thought of Jess picking through that Humanoids book, just going, "Where's that damn moon?"
Show me something that's good in it.
No, in that book, did the highway eat people?
The Savage Highway?
Because the image on the front looked like it was the highway was like a monster.
Yeah.
Right, I get.
It's an overpass that's crumbled.
Oh.
And we've got the two main characters in it walking the Savage Highway, because that's where you get into trouble, because that's where the roving band of rapists and stereotypical male predators have formed fortresses, and all they do is attack each other or kidnap women. And no, the highway is not alive, although it does look alive.
Well, I'm gonna pitch a story where the highway is alive and the highway is fighting back against all these, predators and rapists and shit and eating them.
I would read that, and it would be much better than this book.
I would read it too. I would write that shit.
I totally. Let's get an illustrator and you write it, and I'll finance the publishing of it. And Humanoids owes us anyway, so they'd publish it because they owe me money for this. Actually, Mike Ashley owes me the money for this. I think he sold it to me for $7. God damn it. So I'll get even with him, even if he is one of the nicest guys around. He's lost his cred with me.
Never taking a recommendation. No, did he recommend it to you?
No, it was up for sale, and I thought, oh, it's a humanoids
That's
book
why
that
it's
I
up
haven't
for
read
sale.
yet. Yeah, he didn't say it sucked. He just said it was for sale. That's
It's a
the
good sales.
yeah. Yeah, he just said, oh, it's a humanoids book, and I need credit on IST, so I'll sell it to you for $7 or $10 IST credit. I said, okay, that sounds like a good deal.
But it wasn't.
No, he totally bait and switched me, man. Damn him.
His name's in Mud.
Yeah. Mud Ashley. That gets the upside down Omnidog seal of death.
Oh shit!
Seal of disapproval.
The anti-Omnidog seal.
Right.
Well, this week, my reading, continuing on from last week, I continue to read a lot of Berserk, making my way through the series at a good pace now. I'm currently on volume 16, which I've read a small chunk of, maybe a fifth of this volume, so I'll probably finish this one tonight. I've finished the Golden Age arc, and I'm now in the Conviction arc, Lost Children chapter, and Guts is currently fighting a ton of fairies and insect-themed demonoid people, and it's pretty badass. It doesn't directly measure up to what came before, because the conclusion of the Golden Age arc is one of the finest moments I think I've ever read in manga, but I must warn, for anyone who embarks on this journey through Berserk, it is not for the faint of heart. Can trigger a lot of people if they have certain things that bother them. It's violent. It's full of bad people doing bad things, and not getting the comeuppance, because basically. So heartbreaking conclusion at the end of that arc that just like, so it makes you just want to continue reading and see if Guts, our hero, can prevail in the end, what happens with him and these characters that he's going up against. But yeah, I'm like totally on board. I think I made a post earlier in the week about it on the group, just saying like I'm at volume 15 and I fucking love it. Everything's awesome. And that's really all I've read this week, aside from regular weekly stuff that I caught up on. I don't think there was anything terribly notable, and I've started reading the stuff from this week. I read like the new issue of Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that. Nothing out of the ordinary.
How is that new series? Is it any good?
It's interesting because it's like Jerry Dugan might be doing what Bendis didn't do and often doesn't do, and have like a continuing plot. Like because Bendis, like, he wrote the characters in fun situations for, however many issues, but there wasn't a real conclusion. There wasn't a real plot line continuing from the beginning all the way to the end. It was just like thing happens, and then giant conclusory issue that has them fight people that they may or may not have fought earlier in the run. So now they're like setting things up, and it seems like they're setting up, big things for the series to go forward. It's a lot of fun so far. Like, the only thing that I don't necessarily dig is the fact that they decided to use Baby Groot, which is obviously just to cash in from the movies. But they also took away Peter Quill's trench coat and leather jacket, and he's back wearing the classic, Star-Lord.
Yeah, cool. That's why I liked like in Annihilation Conquest, when you meet Groot. It's not really a spoiler, but he's massive.
Yeah.
He's like 50 foot tall, or I don't
and
he's about like 20 meters tall.
Initially, doesn't he speak? Like, doesn't he say more than just "I am Groot"?
Yeah, he's royal. He's like, this is beneath Lord Groot or whatever. And
In Conquest?
I love it because in
Oh.
Conquest. Because the Star-Lord miniseries, like I won't spoil anything, but Star-Lord miniseries is essentially Suicide Squad, but done better. And it's like Star-Lord has to go and do this death mission, and they like, here's some prisoners to use, and it's like Mantis and Groot and Rocket. And it's just awesome. I loved the Star-Lord mini, and yeah, they meet Groot, and he's like 1,000. He's just massive, and like they're walking through a tunnel, and he's like crawling behind them, and it's just it.
Yeah, they've really
I know what you
kind of transformed that character since back then. Like made him, because like in the movie, obviously it'd be really hard for them to make him huge like that and monstrous, so they made him 9 feet tall instead, which is cool. But then in the comics, like he's stayed that size and hasn't really grown into anything since then. And now like he's Baby Groot, and I don't think they've even explained why. He just is. Maybe they did, and I just wasn't paying attention, but whatever. But
you go.
So that's all I read. So I guess now we can get into like the main topic where Jess and I will just ask Mitch some questions and talk about Australian comics.
I don't want it all to be about me though. I'm going to throw some back.
All right. So what I guess like first first off, I think can you let everyone know like how expensive comics are in Australia compared to what like Americans pay?
So I bought the War of Kings Prelude and Aftermath from in-stock trades because over here we use mostly online services because our in-store is marked up to ridiculous amounts. So like I can't remember what Omni it was recently. Oh, the Elektra reprint. In store that was I think 160 Australian.
160.
Yeah, so like
you know what that translates to in US dollars?
I'll do that. Oh, you want to do it, Riley?
I'll look it up.
Yeah. So like we sort of generally don't go towards stores for big books. Like I still go to one of my locals for mostly paperbacks. Like the Image first, like they're always marked at $10 US. So Australian we get them for about 12, which is decent.
I looked up 160 Australian is 119.22 US, which cover price, it was Elektra that you said I think was 100, so it's about $20 markup.
Yeah.
Still dollars are dollars, so it's a lot of Australian dollars just to get an Omni.
Dollars is a lot in Australia.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's a lot anyway. Especially for a book that's that thin. But so like I still go to. I've got 2 local shops that are in Sydney, which is only about an hour and a half away. On a time, when I get some money and buy physical books because it's just fun to go to a comic book store. There's nothing that beats that sort of feeling of buying new comics, having them, talking and stuff like that. But generally, we stay to online services like Book Depository, which is a godsend because they do free shipping and their prices aren't bad. But the Australian government has just decided to tax all online purchases 10% as of next month. So,
jeez.
Yeah. So like I get most of my Omnis from either Book Depository or I fork out on in-stock trades. So yeah, I got the War of Kings Prelude and Aftermath, and they cost me, I think, with shipping 300 Australian.
How much was shipping? You got those 2 books from in stock?
It was, so they were like, US price plus I think US shipping was about $55 from memory. I think about $45-$55. So like that's like $300 in by the way, no, 300 Australian, sorry. Which is a lot of money obviously, but the thing about those books is I obviously needed them for my Cosmic read through, but the prelude I think was basically disappearing off all our online retailers. Or anyone that it was there, it was like $170, $180. So it was just like, I'm not paying that much for a book I know I can get cheaper. So if we have an Aussie chat with most of the Aussie members in there, and we always just throw out links to, here's a pre-order that's under $100, which is rare. You know, so like we're paying plus even at most of the time, like fish around for different points. And that's why Amazon sometimes is actually like a viable a viable option, even though their shipping methods absolutely suck.
Yeah.
Like you do find deals, like we have, you know, like Craigslist type things and Facebook groups where we do find deals, but generally it's just like we've got to fish for months in advance pre-order price, or just find, hey, this one, you know, like I said, we share it in the Aussie chat, and we're just like, hey, this one is like, you know, $10 less than that one, so cancel that pre-order and pre-order here. You know,
how many people are in that chat?
We got a fair amount. I think there's about 10 in there. I'm terrible remembering names, so I'll throw a couple out. Got like Ben Doherty, me, Rocket, Robert Parker. I call him Rocket because he loves Rocket Raccoon. Rory, Berryman, Sherlock, Timbo Patton, and a guy Vince. Plus a few others that we've brought in. I don't think are in the group actually, but yeah, we just sort of help each other out. But it's just comes to a point where we look at, like, especially on the group, we look at people going, "Oh, in stock hasn't shipped yet, and it's been 2 days," and it's like, you know, I ordered my Warwick Kings, and they took a month and a half to get to me. So, you know, I don't mind because I have 1,000 books to read in the meantime. So I usually order and just forget about it, and then they show up, and I'm happy. But even with Book Depository, where we buy most of our like just oversized hardcovers and paperbacks, they take up to a week just to ship, and then, you know, and a half to get to us. So, and then even then, it's a crapshoot of whether it's going to be damaged or not. So there is sort of, I think Australian collectors are a bit more lenient with damage because we're so used to a ding, or as I said, my Ultimate Spider-Man was hanging out of the box, and I was like, well, whatever, I can still read it. As have that option to send back if need be, whereas to us it's a massive ordeal. You know, we have to email them, and we have to ship a book back to overseas, or, you know, book or whatever. It's just such a hassle. So generally we're pretty forgiving. We're just like, well, you know, I paid $120 for this book and it's damaged. Well, I can still read it, whatever. So, I mean,
yeah. So
I'm not trying to be woe is me, but
am I echoing here?
No.
Can you hear me echo, Rye?
I can.
No, I can't.
I am definitely echoing. I wonder if I should
like me talking or you?
No, just me. I can hear myself echo.
Okay. Well, Matt just asked. Matt Higgins just said in the chat, "You'd be a heavy consumer of digital," and Lewis has actually pushed me onto digital a lot because, like, it's cheap. Like, I've got Comixology now on my phone, and it's like they have deals where it's like a paperback's like $6, and it's like, well, there's no damage, there's no shipping, and I've got it on my phone or my tablet. Why not? You know, I'm not selling up and going digital. I'm just sort of like looking at the deals and going, oh, like currently there's a Star Wars sale on. I'm like, oh, cool, Star Wars Legacy is like $9. I'll buy that. You know, whereas if you're buying the Legacy epics, the epics are like $40, $45 down here with free shipping. So, like, purchases are very limited here. Like I said, my haul is from the past month because I just can't buy brand new books, and that was one of the big things too. Was I took the stance of not having to read everything. I don't have to read everything that ever comes out. It does suck because you have to limit yourself to what you can buy cheaper or what you can find. Yeah, it's just sort of like a more sort of, you know, restrained buying in Australia.
I know, because I've talked to you about this a lot before. I asked whenever we were talking about this, I had asked you about like what's wage like over there, like what's minimum wage, and it was really weird. Like it's different in Australia. Like it's not just a set rate or a set wage that is the minimum wage, right?
Yeah. It goes off on this, but from my experience, it goes off age. So if you're 16, you know, just going into the workforce, you get a minimum wage. But even minimum wage, I think, is about $15 an hour. The thing is, you've also got to remember like the cost of living, which then comes up. But then once you get to 21, your wage hits a point and then stays there from 21 onwards. But then you also got salaries and stuff like that. But if you're a part-time worker like me, at a certain amount, but even then it's like, it's good, but again, cost of living is up. So it's like, you know.
So the
older you get, the more money you can start to make as a wage?
Up to age 21, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then it just caps out, and then you just
then it just stops.
Age-based minimum.
I mean, you can obviously, it depends on the job, obviously. Like my job, I think the cap at the moment is about $21. Like part-time, so there isn't a lot of hours in that, you know. But obviously different work, there's, you know, danger pay if you're in like a very dangerous job, obviously, stuff like that.
And what do you do again? You're a donut taster?
Yeah, can't you tell?
I was just thinking.
No, I just work at a grocery store. I do this all night. Like this all night. But I am looking for full-time work. But that's another thing. The job market down here isn't the best. So if you've got a good job, that's great. But like, even then, it's just, you know, I it up, and that's what, like, I don't get a lot of money. So my buying comes down to deals I find or things I need. I sort of save up for them, like my War of Kings book. I know I needed that, and then that's when Aftermath started sort of going off all the websites. I was just like, oh god. And then I realized, like, don't panic, it's fine. You know, it's just because it's off IST doesn't mean it's disappeared from stores from, you know.
So you've got to be super picky on what you want. You just have to be really careful. You can't just buy something because you heard it was good or something. Yeah.
Like I sort of did when I go to the comic stores, when I like, it's good because I can flick through books, or with the group people post photos of their books, and I'm like, oh, that looks good, you know. So the group's a really good sort of test on what looks good, what isn't. Yeah, you can't just sort of buy a random book and just go. I mean, you can, whatever, do what you want, but you if you do, you run the risk of then it coming. This was shit. And I just wasted, you know, $35 on an epic collection I didn't even enjoy.
Yeah.
So
it's good to, I mean, you get to keep your library kind of trimmed down to just, you know, the important stuff instead of building that. Like I have a ton of books that like I have just because I'm like, well, I really like this and I really like this, and this was between it. So I might as well have it. Like I have a lot of that kind of crap.
Yeah.
Well, I know one thing you can save your money on. You don't need to buy Nightfall. You can save money on that.
Wait, what's Nightfall?
Batman Nightfall.
Oh, Nightfall. Yeah, right.
Yeah, you don't need to buy that.
No, I got those. And Riley, like the way we go way back. Both try to collect Batman sort of chronologically, and like I've got most of mine in paperback, and then when the omnibus, it's like I don't need the omnibus, and like it's not even that good. So like paperbacks, because I've got my chronological Batman. They're behind me if I can show it. Sort of there's like the start of it, and then it goes along. So it all being in one format, I prefer, rather than having like a big chunk of Nightfall missing and it over here where the omnibuses are. So that helps a lot. But even then, like I had a list I wrote down of like books that were coming out, what I needed to buy, and I don't think I bought any of the books on there because it was just like books I wanted rather than books I needed. Only that way.
You like use and have pushed me to keep updating my like Batman trade list that I made a while ago.
Yeah, I remember that. That was good because like Legacy 2's just come out, hasn't it? Or it's coming out.
Legacy just got solicited, so that'll fill another little gap.
Someone just said that they're lucky I don't get killed by a snake, which is funny because on my road, like literally 100 meters for 100 feet from my house is a dead snake on the road. So
even dead snakes can kill you in Australia.
Because I was driving to work last night and I come over the hill and there was just a snake and I went over the top of it. And I'm like, oh. And then I came home and it was already dead and its head's gone. So someone or something has killed this red belly black snake on my road. So happens.
So
Australia.
Do you how much crazy wildlife do you see on a regular basis then?
Well, I live sort of in a rural area, but I'm like literally like 5 minutes from a major like town. I'm just like sort of a little bit west, like inland, where there's a lot of farming. An acre, which I'm not sure if there's an American acre, property, and I'm in a hill. Like I'm looking at a mountain right now at my window. So I see the kangaroos, cows, obviously, because there's a farm. But I see snakes, wombats, echidnas. Like the other day, our neighbors' dogs were in the field behind us, and they were like barking down at something, and I was like, "Oh shit, there's a snake! Like poisonous snake biting a dog. That's going to be bad news." So I ran up there to try and get him to go away. And as I was running up near my car, came out beneath the car at me. And then just took it hard left and just slithered across the road. And I just went, oh, shit. It's on a snake in my driveway. So that was, like, I was walking out to my car and I looked down and that foot was coming down on top of the snake that was curled up in the sun. And I was just like, Jesus, nearly fell on top of it.
You need a holiday like Whacking Day where everybody goes out and whacks the snakes.
That's the thing. The common thing is you get a shovel and you put it on its head and just like chop its head off, but I've never really done it. So poisonous and people kill them when they're in, communities and in suburbia. But we're not really in suburbia. Like my street has like 4 houses on it, but our street's like, 2 miles long because we're up into the hill. So you can get shit like that. But when you're living out west.
Mitch pulled the best prank on me on New Year's Eve because not only did he get the pleasure of the prank, but the people I was with got the pleasure of the prank too. It was a 2-for-1 prank because I was at a party with these people who had just traveled to Australia, and they were and I was in the admin chat with Mitch. And where was the area that we were talking about, Mitch? Do you remember?
Fraser Island or
it was an island like Christmas Island, Eagle Island.
I think it was Christmas Island.
Yeah, and they were talking about it, and I said, "Mitch, have you ever been there?" And he said, "No, I generally don't go there because of the giant apes." And I was like, "Giant apes."
Alex joined in on that too. Alex did that too.
Yeah, Alex totally did. He said, "Yeah, no, they're well known for giant apes." And I think 2 days before I had read something about poisonous grass or something in Australia. I'm like, what doesn't kill you in Australia? So I'm like, giant apes? And so I went to I said to the people, did you guys experience any giant apes when you were there on that island? And they're like, did we experience what? And I said, my friend in Australia says there's giant apes there that are dangerous. And they were like, I don't think that your friend is actually your friend. He sounds like he's yanking your chain. And I'm like, and then Mitch showed me some scar on his arm that he got from a giant ape attack. And I'm like, no, look at his arm. He got swiped by a giant ape. And they looked at me. And of course, I don't drink. So I was the only one that wasn't drunk. They were drunk and they were making fun of me. They're like, we're drunk and we're not even falling for that. So
yeah, we made up story that was like we had an infestation and we sent all the apes to Christmas Island.
Yeah. He shipped them all to it, and I was just so gullible. I was like, wow, I can't believe it. Giant apes infested you and you shipped them all out? Because I don't know, you got hopping kangaroos and wallabies and wombats and death from above spider snakes, and I don't know. I just believed it totally.
That's the thing. Everyone always says it's so dangerous here, but it's like I've never been bitten or anything, so you know. Do you guys have blue bottles?
Blue bottles.
Yeah. Okay. They're like a jellyfish, but they're like they're like vivid blue, and they've got this like bubble on their body, and then a little bit of a body, but then like a 6-foot little strand that hangs off them, and they just float in the water. I'm not making this up. You can Google this. And the wind pushes them. So like when you get certain winds, they come up to shore and they wash up on shore. But the tendril actually stings you and has like hardcore neurotoxin in it. If you're just swimming and like obviously the thing's just dangling in the water, it'll like just sort of wrap around you because it's just so, you know, fluid. But they're my brother actually was surfing once, and a guy had the tendril wrapped around his neck, and like obviously because it's stinging you, it can swell up and close the guy's. Yeah, like a blue-ringed octopus. Johnny just said in the chat, they've got like hardcore neurotoxin in them, and but the thing with blue bottles is like jellyfish, they're sort of not alive, but they are, and they just sort of just get blown with the wind because of this big like air bubble that sits on the surface of the water. So they're probably the thing that I'm most scared about in Australia because you can't see them until they're like stinging you. So,
and so is that like this in this comic? Is that what those are?
Oh wow! And do you live pretty close to the water?
Yeah,
I thought so.
10-minute drive, like not even so.
Yeah, the pictures you sent.
Most of Australians live on the water.
And yeah, maybe these like aliens are meant to be like them too.
Oh my god!
This is from the Australian comic that Alex sent me. A month ago.
Alex sent you a book?
Yeah, so he sent me as a gift. He was going to send me Bloodshot, that first hardcover, and he's like, if you want to just pay for shipping, you know, I can send that to you. And he threw this in as well, and the shipping was like, I want to say it was like $40 or something.
Yeah, I bet.
But it actually came in maybe like less than a week.
Huh.
Which was crazy. Yeah, when bought a book from Lewis, and I grabbed a book as well in like his set, and it came within like 5 days. It was ridiculous.
You had to get your copy of Bloodshot from Australia?
Apparently.
Get hype again, please. In the chat, if I'm saying that right, said artist editions and statues hard to get in Australia. I've never bought an artist edition because of the price. I would love the Mazzucchelli Daredevil, and if they did a Mazzucchelli Year One like artist edition, that would be full blown. I would get that straight away. But statues and stuff are badly priced. Like I've got, I don't know if you can see or not. I've got Mira and Aquaman.
Oh yeah.
They're those DC, I don't know what they call, like collects or DC icons or something like that. They're massive. They're about 12 inches. They were about 130 each. So like not too bad. You can find deals. Like I've got a couple Batman black and whites. They're about $100 flat here. So it's like, you know, like it's, yeah. Like, but the thing is, we don't know any different. So like over there, like Jess, you say you got like these, like the artifacts, magnetic base statues.
Oh, yeah.
You say you get them like $35, and I'm like, that was I think $110.
Oh
Magneto.
My goodness! Whoa.
Yeah, I got Cyclops on sale for $50. So, you know,
wow.
But we don't know any difference.
No, I guess not. But you're the one that got me started on my Swamp Thing statue collection.
Yeah.
I saw your little Swamp Thing gallery, and I had to get that statue. That was a cool one.
A friend got me that. Shout out to my Jess. For Christmas one year, and it was like the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away that she got an exclusive. She's like, that's probably the only one in Australia. I'm like, it probably is, to be honest. Like, and Nick just said in the chat, can you tell us how you really feel about all our Americans' complaints about ridiculous deals? But I don't think you want me to do that. It's like, it does suck when we see, like, you know, books that we really want for, like, oh, here you have it for $12, and it's like we have to pay like upwards of $40 for that book, you know. But again, it's because you guys get them so cheap, you can resell them so cheap. So like usually when we sell a book, we try to get it as close to what we paid for it, you know. So it's it's annoying, but we get it because it's just the different markets. So we just sort of deal with it.
Yeah, I think
Everyone went quiet. I thought I disconnected.
Yeah, it was just an awkward silence. We have those a lot.
if the black and white statues, you said you get about $100. I think that's about even with what we pay, if not a little bit better.
All right.
I think so too.
So that's a good trade-off, I guess.
Yeah, like the jock one of Dick like falling down, that was like my number one. I wanted that, and then it went like out of print, out of production, and then they did like a reproduction, and I jumped on it straight away. And I think with a store discount, I got it for about $110, and I was like, that's not too bad. And then yeah, like I think the Mazzucchelli, I didn't get the Mazzucchelli. I got that for Christmas, but I got the Damien as well, the little black and white Damien. He was 80, and he's only, you know, that big. So, you know,
I'm
it's sort
looking right now, and on Amazon, it's listing them as like $80, which means you get it translated for about what we would buy them for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's marked down, of course, on Amazon.
The place you guys got your pops from, Pop Culture. They do a good deal because they're in Melbourne, so they're not far away from me. They're only in the next state. They do a deal where if you spend over $100, you get free shipping. So if you bought one of them from Pop Culture, you get it free shipping. So you just pay what it costs, which is a good deal. And they always have deals on, like, they have Batman Day deals. So it's always tempting, like 20% off all Batman products. And I'm like, 20% off, that would put it under $100, which means I'd have to pay shipping. So it's sort of like, you know. And basically, I just buy. I don't buy week off. I don't buy first day. I don't buy first week. I wait, you know, and that's what sucks when you wait and things go out of print and then you're stuck.
Yeah, let's talk about pop culture for a sec, because let's see, this is 2017. I think I was buying stuff. Is it?
Sorry, someone in the chat just asked.
Oh, for your Vegemite?
Yeah.
Because I was buying a lot of pops from Australia through Pop Culture that were hard to find here. Like they would be Hot Topic pops or pops from, I don't know, Walgreens or Hot Topic, wherever they were exclusives. They weren't exclusive in Pop Culture in Australia, and you could get them really cheap, like $12 for a pop. Whereas here on eBay, they'd be $35. And I bet I bought 15 or 20 pops from there because they were impossible to find here. And that was a really good resource for a long time until they put the clamps down. And I guess US, I can't remember who it was, but whoever they were, they made Pop Culture stop letting us buy those exclusives for cheap through them. Yeah. I can't, maybe go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, it was always funny when I'd go to one of our retailers and see, like, I remember you were always posting about, you know, Hot Topic exclusives or whatever. I think like Taskmaster, the pop of Taskmaster.
Oh, yeah.
Taskmaster.
Yeah, that was from Walgreens.
That's just a regular here. You can get that anywhere.
Yeah, when that thing was hot, when it first got released, that was going for 25 or 30 on eBay.
See, like that, but over here the pops were $15, and then they got popular, and now they're $19, like flat. So yeah, like I got like the little X-Men collection. I don't know if you see it here, and yeah, and I got like a little cosmic collection I've started, but like they suck for buying as well because it's like $20 for, you know. I could spend $20 on a book, you know, so it's all relative, I guess. But yeah, it was always funny when you'd say, "Oh, I need like this is rare," or a couple of the Deadpools, and it was like there's like 20 of them right here. Like,
Yeah.
I wish I could start up a market where I could just buy all the rare ones and ship them out.
Yeah, that was a real resource, that pop culture shop. I can't remember who it was. I guess maybe U.S. retailers or some group got together and asked pop culture to stop shipping them, and so now we can't get any kind of rare pops anymore from them.
Yeah, it is really weird that they just decided to do that because you would think it would help their business if they sold more.
I think they were forced to somehow. I can't remember the story, but yeah, it's not like they willingly did it.
Yeah,
they were forced to stop selling to the U.S. market those particular kinds of exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I remember that specifically talking to you about, I need this pop, I need that pop, and you were like, look, here's a bunch of them.
Yeah. I remember taking a photo. I'm like, there's Taskmaster and there's, you know, Deadpool, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
It's interesting.
Come on, ask me.
Yeah.
So before we started the show, I looked up a few Australian creators and stuff. I looked up all Australian creators, and there was only about 4 or 5 that I was really familiar with. So just to list those, the ones that I knew, and I think you've met at least a couple of them. Didn't you say you met Nicola Scott?
She's a local. She's from Sydney, I believe. So she's always at cons. She was actually at our Comics-Free Comic Book Day.
Oh yeah.
Comic Book Day. I didn't go to it, but yeah, she was there signing Wonder Woman stuff. One of our comic shops, King's Comics, they do like an all-female sort of meetup for ladies. Like, what do they call it? Oh, Queens of Kings. And they have like a book group, and she often goes to that and just talks comics with all the girls. So I think that's pretty rad. She's a really nice lady too. I met her at a con. She was actually there with Greg Rucka, so that was pretty big too. Greg Rucka came to Australia.
And then what's the guy, something Jones?
Jones, yeah.
Yeah, Tristan Jones. That's the other one that you met. That I know you met.
Yeah, he did some work on the Mad Max prequel comic book. That's over there. And he's an Aussie guy, and he does this really great, like, kind of sketchy, kind of like dark toned stuff. I've got some of his work. I've got a Jason Voorhees and a Leatherface on my wall of his prints, surrounded by Tony Moore and some sketches. But also he did a Rust Cole, Matthew McConaughey from True Detective. A wall there, so I'll try and show it to you guys as calmly as I can. It's there. I don't know if that's visible or not, but yeah. So you got, like, where's my finger? Him and the Rust Cole just there. That's all Tristan Jones. He's a really nice guy too. And I've got, oh, that's right, I've got one right here. He did a print for They Live, which is like one of my favorite movies. So I'll try and roll that out.
Nice.
So that's pretty awesome. Yeah. So he's got this really kind of like, I guess aggressive style would be the best way. Very like inky. But he did the recent artwork on Aliens Defiance with, I think, Brian Wood was writing it.
Yeah.
And he also did some work on Rebels with Brian Wood, and he just announced that he's working with Greg Rucka on one of the Lazarus story, like, world building books. I can't remember the name of them. I forget what they're called, but yeah, Furiosa comic, if anyone's read that. And yeah, he's just a really nice guy, and he's pretty much at every con, so I always love getting work for him.
Didn't he do like design for the Mad Max Fury Road as well?
No, he
No? Okay.
he's friends with the storyboard artist of Mad Max, Mark Sexton, who I've also met, which I've got the art book here. The art book of Mad Max, of course.
Okay.
But if you actually, that's Mark Sexton there. He drew Doof Warrior in there for me. And then, where is it? That's Peter Pound. He's the vehicle designer of the movie. So he drew that in there for me as well.
And
so I nearly met George Miller. But
one of them, someone had something to do with that Wacky Raceland.
yeah, that was Mark Sexton.
Okay, yeah. I knew that one of them had something on there too.
I think he just did some design work. I don't think he actually did any artwork. I'm not sure, but
Right, yeah.
yeah.
Well, the most important question is, do you have your jacket nearby with your Humans patch on it?
I took it off and put it on my comic bag.
Oh.
Which gets a bit more use now because that jacket was mostly for concerts and now it's on my comic book bag.
Nice.
On there and some holiday in Genosha.
And have you read the Humans book yet?
I haven't read it. I'm so sorry.
I got to get a copy and send it to you.
Like every time I go to the store, I forget about it or I find it and it's like volume 2 only. And then I was like, oh, I've got Comixology and it's only from issue 6 to 10 now. So I'm like, God damn it.
All right, I'll grab a copy and send it to you because we've been talking about it for 2 years now.
I know. I promise I'll read it. I promise. As
no,
soon as
that's
it gets
fine.
here,
I feel bad for you that you haven't been able to get it. And I mean, I sent that patch to you a couple of years ago. It seems like.
Yeah, and I got the little tag that gave me my gang name. Well, you gave you the gang name.
Right. Oh yeah, your membership card.
Yeah, which is pretty awesome. But yeah. So I also got, I went to a local con recently called Comic Gong because I live near a town called Wollongong. And all our names are also Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander names. So we have very native sounding names. And that's why I always love getting Americans to say Wollongong or Undah or Corrimal or Thurul. They must sound like complete alien languages to you guys.
What was the first one? Wollongong?
I've said Wollongong well to people.
Wollongong?
What is it?
Wollongong.
Wollongong?
Yeah.
Wollongong.
One near there. Sounds weird now because we said it so much. But yeah, they do a little local
Wollongong.
Comic Gong. And the artist there, one of which Marco Blees, I believe he's starting to get Marvel work. He's actually my auntie's cousin, which is kind of cool. And there's a local guy called Matthew Dunn who, like, he does very similar sort of thing. And I picked up this, original piece of him.
Cool.
It's a cool piece, and yeah, I'm a massive horror fan, as you can tell. And he just does. He's a really nice guy, and he actually has a character. He did some badges as well. I don't know if you guys would be able to see that, but it's like a guy in a gas mask on.
Oh yeah.
His name is Leroy. That's a character he created, and he was telling me at the convention that I really love your design. I love that Leroy character. And he's like, that was used as in an ISIS video, right?
What?
What the fuck? And he goes, yeah. He because he's a local artist, indie artist, he always does reverse image searches for his stuff just to see if anyone's stealing it or using it without permission. And he said he was watching the news and ISIS hacking sort of thing. And you know how like that Anonymous uses the Guy Fawkes mask from V for Vendetta. Well, not from V for Vendetta, but the V for Vendetta mask. These people used his Leroy design in their like ISIS hacking video. So he had to call like the state police and be like, I'm not affiliated. I'm not with those people. Please don't like reverse search me back to ISIS.
Oh my God, that's horrifying.
Yeah. So I was like, well, I guess it's some free advertising in a weird way, but like that's something you really don't want associated with your work at all.
Yeah.
yeah, that's Oh, Jess, I got this out for you as well because we were talking about it in the chat.
Oh yeah, that's your original soundtrack to the Road Warrior.
Yeah,
that is bitchin'.
And I got the actual US one. The cover art is so amazing. I'm trying to get that glare off.
That is so cool.
So awesome.
When did you get that?
About a month ago. There's a little local comic record store down here, and there was like I always go to the soundtracks, and I was like flicking through, and it was like the Australian Mad Max soundtrack, and because it's called Mad Max 2 down here, because in America you guys didn't get Mad Max 1 because it was such an Aussie release. So when they released Mad Max 2, they didn't want to put 2 on it because the Americans would be like, well, where's 1? We need to watch 1. So they called it Road Warrior in America. They had the Australian one, and essentially the Australian one just had like sort of images like that on the back, on the front cover. And I was like, oh, that's cool, I might buy that. And then I flicked like next one, and it had this awesome American, I don't even know who the artist is on that. But
oh, that's an American release?
Yeah, so this is the US printing.
Oh, because it's called Road Warrior.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, well, I got to get the American one because it's just, printed in USA. It's just like totally different and cool. But yeah,
so if I haven't seen Fury Road yet, should I see the black and white chrome version or should I see the color version first?
Okay, no los dos. Just I reckon the color version, just so you can like experience it first, and then the black and white. So I saw the color version, and then the black and white came out in cinemas here, and I instantly went and yeah, someone said I get a copy of that vinyl at birth. That's our birthright. Yeah, so yeah, definitely color, and then go black and white. But yeah, I've actually got my Blu-ray signed by the storyboard and vehicle designer as well, so I'm pretty entrenched in Mad Max.
Are there other, because Mad Max, for anyone that doesn't know, George Miller is Australian, and it from knowing you for the past, however long, 6-7 years or whatever, Mad Max is pretty fucking major, like in Australia, yeah.
Like, well, yeah, like example is when I was in Melbourne, I was hanging out with Sherlock and Ben, and we went to I forget what it's called. It's basically like it's like a museum of moving art. So it's basically a museum for film and television, and completely free. You can just walk in, and we're walking around, and like bumped me on the arm, and he's like, "Look," and I looked over, and there's like the Interceptor, like Mad Max's car, sitting there, and I was like, "Yeah." Because I've seen them 10,000 times, like they're just whatever. And I walked up to it and I'm looking inside it. I'm like, it's not proper. It's not screen accurate. There's no seat for the dog.
So is there
because it was like
anything else that's as like culturally, just a huge cultural phenomena like Mad Max is in Australia?
Fidget spinners. No, like I guess fidget spinner is just one. Just because, like, I mean, you've got a comic, Australian comic, and it's about surfing, and it's like, but we had a movie. I think it was an American movie, The Endless Summer. I think it was American, where they just chased summer around the world, and that was big in like my dad's era. Mad Max isn't like not every Australian, has seen Mad Max, contrary to popular belief, but it's pretty big down here because it's probably our biggest like export in terms of film. The movie Australia, which is, or Crocodile Dundee, as Matt Higgins just said in the chat, like that was pretty big, but I think it's sort of like now moved on. I don't know really. I guess Mad Max, and we do have a lot of Australian cinema heritage, which obviously you guys wouldn't get as in like. Not get as in understand, but get over there physically. Like, we have a weird pedigree of Australian film down here that's like considered, just really highly among Australian. If you've never seen Brain Dead, it's Peter Jackson's first movie.
Yeah, actually,
second movie. Yeah. If his first movie, Bad Taste. If you've not seen that.
I thought Jackson was from New Zealand.
Yeah, he is, but we claim everything from New Zealand. So
Claim like Taika Waititi is.
Russell Crowe. Yeah, fuck it, we'll do it. We'll take him. Well, we'll wait till Thor comes out, then we'll see.
So Taika Waititi and Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah, we'll take him. Screw it.
Okay.
Came from New Zealand anyway.
And y'all love the Simpsons quite a bit.
There's, like I said, that Simpsons episode with Australia is like, you know, we love, like, the thing about Australia is we have this mentality of like self deprecation. We basically were born from self-deprecation. Like we were prisoners. So like, you know, so like when the Australian episode of The Simpsons came out, you know, most people would think we were like offended or like, you know, like sort of like upset about our image being that, but we were just like, that's fantastic. Well done. Like, you know, we love making fun of ourselves. So that sort of thing happens. So, well,
Sherlock, I mean, I consider myself the first 8 or 9 years of The Simpsons were the golden years for me. And I've seen every episode 100 times, but Sherlock kicks my ass in Simpson quotes. He can just pour them out all the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's
I went through that recent watch where I watched literally the entire series, and like the stuff that he quotes, I'm like, wait, what? When did that? What?
All right, I gotta be right back. I just gotta go to the bathroom. So speak amongst yourselves.
Now we can talk shit about Mitch.
Yeah, and does the water go a different way around the bowl there?
I understood that because it doesn't go down. It just sort of, you know, and just goes down. I've never seen a toilet that does that. So
you mean the water
toilets do? Like, I've been to America, but no,
the water doesn't
really
circle. It just goes right down.
It just sort of like just goes and it just goes down. So
weird. You have weird toilets.
It just goes down.
Breaking people's minds. All right, I gotta
go. I actually want to see that toilet flush maybe after he does his business, but I'd like to see what that water looks like. If it just goes floosh straight down, that's odd.
I'm trying to think now what my toilet does.
Mine goes.
That's it. That sounds like Super Mario Bros. Like you just died. No, I do think it's a serious issue that you haven't seen Fury Road.
I totally agree. I still haven't seen Star Trek Beyond either, and I suck. I need to see both of those.
You know, I haven't seen Star Trek Beyond, so I can't fault you on that. But Fury Road is phenomenal.
Well, my wife's going out of town tomorrow for 5 days. I'll have the house to myself with no obligations whatsoever except for feeding the dog. So I will totally download and watch Fury Road and Star Trek Beyond. I know I need to do both. I know I really want to see Fury Road. It got such great reviews and everybody loves it so much.
I mean, it's up your alley because it's really about Furiosa. She's really the main character, and that's strong female lead.
Right.
That's one of the things I read about. Well, not read, but like someone had said about it was Max is very much a secondary character in that the story of Fury Road would happen if Max was there or not. Like very much like he joins in on it and then he just is there for the ride, whereas Furiosa was doing what she was going to do whether Max was there or not. And that's what makes it so great, is it's not dependent on the strong male hero, you know, saving the world.
Oh, okay. I'm watching that tomorrow night then. Can't wait.
It's great. I need to rewatch it. I really do want to, and I haven't seen the Black and Chrome, so I'm tempted to see that. But
I thought, like, because it's such a colorful movie, I thought the Black and Chrome might ruin it. But it sort of showcases like how perfectly George Miller like frames every shot. I'm going to talk about Fury Road forever, so let's move on.
I can show my collection of Mad Max colored vinyl.
Yeah, definitely.
Have I showed you that?
Have you got the Mondo one? I don't think so.
I don't know. Let me go get it real quick. Now you can talk about me behind my back.
So, Riley, do you want to talk about how we met?
I don't remember specifically what happened when we met online. I just know that it was like years ago when I first started my Tumblr, and I'm guessing that like we found each other because of a post or a tag or something.
People find each other on Tumblr. And yeah, like we just followed each other, and then I've been there through the birth of everything. I was there when you were engaged.
Yeah,
I was there when you got married. Not there physically because I didn't get an invite, but
here's Mad Max.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's got Mad Max, Road Warrior, and Beyond Thunderdome in it. It doesn't have Fury Road, and then it's all colored vinyl, which I will pull out real quick. Mad Max. Whoops. Not ready for its screen debut.
Ooh,
So
is that silver?
cool. Yeah. It's silver and it's shot through with kind of black.
It's chrome.
Right. Chrome. And then
That's what I love about it. It's like black and chrome. Most of their cars are rusty, so
yeah. And then let's see. Road Warrior has a brown color to it.
oh,
Marbled. And
It's
then
like
I think Beyond Thunderdome was just black.
Poop color.
I don't know why
We need to talk about your fascination with going to the bathroom and poop. There's definitely something going on there.
So whenever I was really young, like I made it a point to pretty much make some sort of poop joke or comment every single day.
This was last year?
No, ever since I was young, like when I was in elementary school. And I don't think I've ever failed at this. Like I always make some sort of poop joke or poop comment. And one of my best friends, whom I'm still close friends with, was the one that joined me on this venture. And I was like, I just really like poop jokes. And he was like, yeah, dude, me too. And we just continued from there, making poop jokes and comments, and it just continues. Like I'm fucking 26 and I'm still talking about poop stuff.
We were out to lunch with Megan in the middle of lunch, and Riley just looks at us and goes, I have to poop, and gets up and leaves. Megan and I look at each other and go, we're eating our food here, dude. What's up with that?
We were eating breakfast tacos and this morning, and her taco, it had anyone ever been to Austin, you might have had Taco Deli tacos, and it's like hers had egg. What did yours? Egg, black bean, and potato?
I don't like where this story's going.
Potato and cheese.
Black bean, potato, and cheese. But the way that they do it at Taco Deli, the black beans, it's refried black beans and mashed potatoes, pretty much. And so she's eating it, and it drips out a blob of the potato.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, your taco's pooping.
Oh, God. Poor Megan.
But
this is bad news. I mean, I can't. I've done stuff on the toilet that's probably really weird, but if I don't explain it, I probably should explain it.
Yeah, what now?
We had like the toilet door was like a sliding door. So my friend was over, and he used to always just smoke in the house, like because my parents smoked, and he would just smoke on the toilet, and we'd just like stand there and talk while he was taking a poo. But one time we were bored, and we were playing categories. Do you have like categories over there? The board game? Yeah. It was while I was taking a poop.
Scat. You put the scat in categories.
It's called Triple T. That's toilet talk time.
Oh, jeez.
Megan just
one of my profile pictures on Facebook is Jess doing her makeup, and she took a photo while I was pooping in the background.
Oh, I remember that picture.
Yeah.
There's a picture of me that my brother-in-law set for his like photo on his phone of me, the ID photo or whatever, and it's Megan walking into my bathroom at my house, my parents' house, and I'm sitting on the toilet and I'm just like, no. But if I recall correctly, Mitch, I think you've done a lot of like Snapchats and stuff on the toilet.
Yeah.
I feel like I recall that.
Like not off the toilet, but yeah, like while I've been sitting there. I mean, you're on your phone or whatever. It's like, let's do something while you're there. Let the world know I'm pooping. We should probably move on.
Yeah.
Bowel move on. It's a good pun right there.
Yeah.
We just talk too much shit, I guess.
All right, let's go.
God.
So,
but yeah, so we've known each other for a while, Mitch.
Yeah, how did you guys know each other? How did you guys meet?
Well, we met on Tumblr, but we were discussing earlier that we're not quite sure exactly when or where.
this sort of happened. I remember through you I met Colin as well, because you followed Colin.
Yeah.
And
This is on Tumblr or Twitter or
on Tumblr. It was back when I was like very active. Like I was on Tumblr all day, every day, more than I was on any other social media, just fucking around. And it's just through the comic community. It might have been through like, because I was putting out a lot of Grant Morrison posts.
No, it was your birthday post. His birthday, like the edit. You made that Photoshop of his birthday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, was it that? I swear it was you that did that.
It might have been that, or I mean, I did a lot of. I had like a lot of random posts that people would follow me for. Like, I had one where I did the beardening, where I like shaved parts of my beard off. I don't. That was way long time ago.
Actually, I got an email from Tumblr recently, and it was like, "Hey, do you still want that username? Because like you haven't been on in a while." And I was like, "Nah, who cares?" And it was like, "If you don't reply to this email, we're going to release your name back into the wild." So I wonder if anyone's claimed it. It's pretty much my go-to on any social media now. So,
which is what?
Oh yeah, let loose the Kraken, all one word. That's like my go-to because no one ever uses it.
Oh, that was you on his Tumblr page. I remember that name. Oh, interesting. Yep. I remember that. Yeah, when I followed him on Tumblr, that's where I first discovered Riley.
Yeah, and then it was then he started the YouTube, and I remember I was so excited because you mentioned me in your when the Captain America by Brubaker Omnibus came out, and I remember asking you, when you get it, tell me if the spines align. And I remember you mentioned me on your YouTube, and I was like,
starstruck. And then I when I started the page, the Facebook page, you're like one of the first 2 or 3 people that I reached out to. I was like, if I'm going to have admins, I need them all over the world, and I need them to be people that I can talk to all day.
Everywhere in the world.
Yeah, and yet strangely enough, you're hardly ever on the page now.
Me?
Yeah.
I read everything on the page. I comment a lot, but I guess I haven't been posting a ton of actual posts.
Yeah, it seems like you have an actual life.
Huh.
As opposed to me,
what's that like?
Who just lives for the page.
I'm just going to get a drink.
Well, I commented on a post earlier about what is that shit? The Atlantic article about what's wrong with Marvel.
Oh yeah, that was an interesting article.
Yeah, I made a.
I'm so sick of those articles.
I made a pretty lengthy comment on that because I had a lot to say. I also mentioned in our admin chat, it was interesting because the Atlantic is the paper that and forgive me if I mispronounce his name, but Ta-Nehisi Coates, who writes Black Panther, he used to write for The Atlantic, and now they're writing about, stuff that's wrong with Marvel while he's writing there. And I think they specifically mentioned
Yeah, they did.
Black Panther because of some of the issues with them making like 3 different Black Panther titles.
Yeah, that article, The Atlantic's a really serious magazine, so I take that article very seriously. That was a really well-written, in-depth article.
And I hope that Marvel does take it seriously as well, because they mentioned all of the major issues with the publisher, and I kind of expanded on all of that from the perspective of a reader who reads like pretty much all of their stuff. Because if you break it down, there are inherent issues, and the issues with Marvel are not. It's nothing to do with diverse characters, and it's nothing to do with the actual stories that they're writing. I have bullet points basically because I wrote like a whole fucking thesis on it, and then I broke it down because I realized how crazy I went. The first bullet point was the one that a lot of people focused on because Nick Spencer was tweeting about it, and that's their renumbering, like constant renumbering of books and stuff.
Right.
Which is an issue because it can be confusing for new readers and old. Like old readers are just like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, especially if you're trade weighting. And then for new readers, it's like, where do you start? There's a number 1 here, there's a number 1 here, there's a number 1 here. Like, which one do I use, and where do I go from there? It's really confusing. Yeah. And you're not able to keep up with it well unless you're literally keeping up with it from the beginning. Otherwise, you have to have someone that you can ask. And fortunately, I've been keeping up with all these things from the beginning, so if anyone has questions, I'm like, this is the order. I know it's complex, but that's the way to do it. But Nick Spencer was saying that the reason they do that, there's really 2 choices they could do. If a book's not selling well, they can either relaunch it with a new number 1 and then get a slight boost in sales and continue the book for a little longer than it would have gone, or they can just cancel it and then end someone's run prematurely. And he's like, I think most creators are going to go for choice B, or the choice, not choice B, the choice where they get to continue writing their story. And most readers would probably want that too if they're already enjoying that story, because, I use Jason Aaron's Thor, for example. I've enjoyed every single part of his Thor run, but it has been split into 3 different series. I don't know if that's due to sales going up and down, but whatever the case, I would rather them restart it with a new number 1 than to just end it prematurely and not let him tell his story. The other points, though, that there are issues with Marvel were they need to do less events and crossovers, which they've already promised they were going to do with their upcoming Legacy branding or whatever. They need to stop double shipping so many books, especially if they're going to be $4 or $5 US dollars per issue.
Yeah.
And they need to have more $3 comics, especially if they're going to continue double shipping. That's what DC has done. They've made sure that a lot of the double shipping books are going to be $3 because it's more affordable. They also need to cut the publishing line, because I've been paying attention, and every week there's about 20 to 25 individual issues of in-continuity stories that are coming out. So that's 80 to 100 issues of in-continuity stories, which means probably around like 80 individual series that are being published every month, which is ridiculous compared to, I think DC has somewhere around 40 right now. And DC was struggling before trying to keep 52 books on the line. I don't know how Marvel thinks they're going to continue doing 80 books.
Yeah.
Like it's a ridiculous.
I think, like, as much as I love Marvel, I feel like the movies have sort of like given them a bit too much of an ego. And I say that purely like out of love, but when I was at like the thin Marvel Now trades that are like ridiculously thin, the covers bend, went up to like $25. And I'm like, a Marvel trade normally would have been about 18, in Australia. And it was like, just because there's a movie about this character now, I have to pay extra for a thinner book that's built worse. So
I
don't know. I mean,
Spider-Man Extremis, this copy of this trade paperback, 6 issues. It's decent thickness, $15 cover price. But if you were to look at that now, like I guarantee the same thing would be at least $20. So they have increased price on that stuff.
While dropping in quality.
They use thinner paper and stuff, so they are kind of dropping in publication proper quality. And
I got the Ghost Rider, and I started reading it, and then like 2 issues in, I closed it, and the cover was doing this.
Yeah,
and I was like, all right, fair enough.
And then the other issues, and I don't know if you guys would agree with this, but they need to stop making everything a franchise, like giving Black Panther 3 books and Doctor Strange 2 books, because I've seen that it drives people away from even buying the main book because they think that you need to have all of the books to understand what's going on.
The crossover mentality.
And the last item that I said was there's a lot of series that come out like Fool Killer and Solo and Elektra and Bullseye, which are clearly meant to be miniseries, but they're not labeling them as miniseries. So it looks like they're just canceling things all the time. So it makes it look bad for Marvel when it's not. They need to label them appropriately. You know, they need to label like this is a miniseries. It's going to end with 5 issues instead of leaving it open-ended. But those were all my issues, and that's I think that if Marvel was to fix those items, especially just basically having their publication line, that everything would start to look very sunny for them.
I think the one of the biggest things for me, and like I don't read monthlies anymore for reasons I stated earlier, the price more than anything, but crossover fatigue is just getting to a point where it's become almost a parody of itself.
Yeah.
And people like, was it Warren Ellis's Next Wave literally said on the front cover "Uncivil War" when Civil War was happening, because they wanted to be known that they weren't going to be a part of whatever was happening at the time. I'm pretty sure that it came out at the same time, but it was like, just, you've got, event after event, and each event, as always says, it changes the status quo, but it never does, or it does for 6 months, and we all know it's going to come back. So it gets to the point where, it just becomes like a matter of who cares about the event. Like, I don't even know what happened in like whatever the most recent event was. I think the one that Hulk died in or something. I don't even know. Like, because Hulk died. I don't like. That's what I mean. Like, you just become so numb to whatever's happening, and it's just like, oh, how's my book going to be affected?
Yeah,
reading.
that
How's it
was
going to be affected?
Civil War 2. That was where that happened, and like most of what you get is like most of the issue that I have is, like you said, how is this book going to be affected? You're reading a book, and then all of a sudden it ties into the event. And you're like, oh, great, an event tie-in. Like, am I going to understand what's going on? Do I need to read the event? Should I just go ahead and fucking drop it because I'm not going to understand like what's happening? And sometimes they throw the tie-in, like the label on there, and it doesn't even really have anything to do with the event. Like I mentioned about Power Man and Iron Fist, they had a Civil War II tie-in that had nothing to do with Civil War II, or hardly anything to do. So
it's like when I was reading Inhuman, by, is it Saul wrote Inhuman? I think Axis happened, and what's it called? The Original Sin happened. The Original Sin tie-in had literally like I forget his name, not Legion. He's like the guy with all the faces all over him. He was just like, oh yeah, that's happening over there with like Nick Fury and the Watcher. Anyway, this is what's happening. That was the only reference to it, and I was like, that's a good way to do it, because you're acknowledging this is happening, but we don't. But then the Axis thing happened halfway through that run, and Medusa was affected by it, and I didn't know. So next issue, all of a sudden, Medusa's the bad person, and I'm like, and I felt the book suffered because of it.
Oh, I agree. It was jarring. It was really jarring.
Yeah.
I was like, I just read that like a month ago, and I agree. I was like, wait, I don't get it. What happened? How is she like this?
And like when the book sets up Medusa as this very regal, very like strong character who's holding together the Inhuman universe because Black Bolt's disappearance, and all of a sudden she's like, "Oh, fuck everything," and you're like, "Wait."
Yeah,
like,
exactly right.
This totally goes against. I mean, I know that's what Axis's point was to like flip when you've got half the book setting up her as to be this like queen, and then all of a sudden she's just like, nah, kill him, I don't care, do whatever. Like, it was just sort of goes against what the core of the book was meant to be at that point, and then you're just pandering to that event.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was jarring. I think everybody feels that way.
Yeah, so that's just like I looking at my like event thing. My favorite event was Dark Avengers and the whole, Norman Osborn thing, because I think that was the last time Marvel actually put an effort in to an event. And I use that term like as in they actually planned something and built the Marvel Universe around the event after that. And every book, but it was done in a good way. Like even New Avengers, which I wasn't a big fan of, Bendis' New Avengers, it even had the Dark Avengers tie-in, but it made sense because then they were fighting Norman Osborn as S.H.I.E.L.D. and it just sort of made a lot of sense. And you got like Siege, which tied into JMS's Thor. If you read like Ellis's Thunderbolts into Dark Avengers with New Avengers into Siege into like Thor by JMS, it's all one cohesive story and it's brilliant and I love it. But that was the last time I've ever felt Marvel actually did, something of that scale that worked.
Yeah. I think after that, you get like the event happens and then it's very self-contained with little bitty things that bleed out into the rest of the universe, but it's not something like it's not entirely earth-shattering anymore. Like I think the worst examples of this, or best, however you want to look at that, are Fear Itself and Original Sin. Like both of those very briefly affected the Marvel Universe, and then after they were done, everything was back to normal, and there was like maybe one character that was different because of it, which tells me this shouldn't have been a line-wide event. This shouldn't have been like a huge crossover event. This should have just been a story arc for this character, or a small crossover for this character. And I was discussing briefly in the chat room about just that. DC is doing that better in making these crossovers, instead of being huge events, they're just crossovers for 1 month, like Batman versus the Monster Men, or The Button between Batman and Flash, or now the Jericho contract between the Teen Titans books and Deathstroke. If you dig it, good, you get an issue every week, and that's awesome. If you don't like it, then it's not a big deal because it's done in a month, and it only affects the books that need to be affected by them.
Yeah, you can just stop reading if you want.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that.
It's like, did Marvel not? They did a thing where they're just like, no more events for 12 months.
That's what they're claiming, that they're trying to do that like now after Secret Empire. Like Secret Empire is supposed to be it, and then they're gonna not do events and crossovers, major events and stuff for however long. And
I think they said 18 months or something.
Something like that. And if they keep up with that, then awesome. Because if that's the plan, I would assume that means at the end of 18 months that they have something big planned, and whatever's planned is going to really benefit from that buildup, from just quietly building up and stuff. And it's something that, like, regardless of how people feel about the New 52, they did that with the New 52. They, didn't have all these events constantly happening one after the other, like DC did. Even DC did it with, the Crises and Blackest Night and Brightest Day and all that. Like, it's just event after event after event. And then boom, Flashpoint. And then they didn't have any big events or crossovers until basically Trinity War / Forever Evil, which was like the first really big DC thing in New 52. And I felt like, regardless of how you felt about either of those stories, it pulled it off really well.
It's like the Throne of Atlantis too. Like that was just set in Justice League and in Aquaman, and then that was generally it. And that's I'd like that, because it was like, okay, I dig the Throne of Atlantis storyline, so I can read that in both books if want, but I can still read Batman and not have to worry about him going underwater.
Yeah, And then even like Forever Evil, when that happened, they didn't fuck around with all the tie-ins. Like there was a Forever Evil Batman miniseries, and there was a Forever Evil Flash miniseries, but they didn't make all the ongoing series all of a sudden reflect what was happening in Forever Evil, except for Justice League. That was the only one.
Yeah.
So that
I feel like Justice League was always like core one though.
But anyway, that was, I guess, our tangent for the night.
It's funny too because like Civil War was my one of my first hardcovers ever. Like when I first started reading comics, so I'm sort of like endeared to Civil War in a weird way, as you know, as much as people know the problems with it, but
yeah. I think it did well to affect the whole Marvel universe, though. It resonated throughout all the different books like that it tied into, because it was a good enough premise to have every character affected by it.
Yeah, and like I think the biggest one was Cap. Like that was, I think, like the Brubaker stuff with Civil War was probably the best because they planned it to have that happen for Brubaker or not, but I think he ran with what happened and made it work amazingly. Well, a 10-year-old book.
Well, it's past 9 over here, which means Megan's about to like come kick my ass if I don't get off. So with that, I hope we covered everything that we needed to or wanted to. Mitch, as the special guest, were you satisfied? Do you think there's anything else we need to go over?
I mean, we talked about some stuff in the chat, but I mean, I don't care. Whatever if you need to get off, I'm sure I can come back another time.
Yeah, maybe we can do a dual Aussie show.
Yeah, we'll get Alex in.
Oh, that'd be great to get Alex in. So he works. Yeah, he works.
So it's kind of good about this with working at night. So
yeah.
Well,
if you've got any more questions,
I don't have anything specific. I mean, we talked about Vegemite, and I really wanted to let people get that perspective of like being a comic fan in Australia. I guess you mentioned the comic conventions and stuff. How often do you guys get conventions in? I don't want to say in Australia because it's such a huge continent / country, but like around y'all's area, and how many big names are able to appear?
Oh, we've got maybe I think the biggest one is like a con called Supernova, and then we've got Oz Comic Con, which obviously is an affiliate. Why can't I say that word today?
What is the word?
It isn't affiliated. Oh god, you know, like joined in. My
affiliated.
God,
affiliated.
Yeah, actually affiliated. With the actual Comic Con in like New York or wherever. But Supernova is probably the biggest and most well known. It's had some problems with its organizer though, which I probably won't go into because it was sort of like a very touchy political subject where the organizer for the convention about, you know, exclusivity and then personally blatantly says some other things. So like that's a good con, but at the same time, all the conventions here are very much pushed for the media guests, like TV, movies, you know, all that kind of stuff, voice actors. So, which is kind of good because a lot of people go to that and then they've got to pay prices for just a photo and a signature. But the comic creators are over in, you know, Artist Alley, and no one goes there except for comic fans. Sort of like, you know, people can go and do their thing with the media guests, but the comic people are sort of there meeting the people that they want to meet as well. And most of the time they don't charge, which is great. Like they charge for a sketch or for a print or something, but you know, there's no token system for an autograph like there is with the celebrities. So we got Chris Claremont a few years ago. We got George Perez. We've got Greg Rucka, which was a big one because Greg Rucka came down on Batman Day. So I got like Gotham Central signed on Batman Day by Greg Rucka, and I was just like, oh.
That's awesome.
He's a fantastic guy. If you ever get the chance to meet him, please do. He always writes little quotes in the books, and I won't get him out, but yeah, he's a nice guy. And then like, yeah, Nicola Scott was there, but I mean, she's being a local, she's always sort of going to be, but it's more like your overseas names. Like they've just announced Mike Grell. I will slaughter his name. We'll say Potasio, if I did that right.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I'm definitely going to go to Mike Grell because I love his Green Arrow. So, but more often than not, it's just the Australian creators, which are great in its own. But once you've seen them 6 times, you know, like a sign already, you know, like there's not much else you can sort of do apart from like buy a print or get a sketch from them. And like, yeah, we got Tony Moore. I'm just looking at my wall of prints. We got Tony Moore, which was huge because the reason I got into collected comic books was because of The Walking Dead. So Tony Moore was very much like just an icon for me. And I got a sketch off him of Heath Houston from Fear Agent. When big names come, I always try to go there just because I don't want to support the idea, because then they'll go home and be like, hey, Australia's great. Go down there, you know, hopefully. That's the idea.
Yeah, that must be tough to get big creators to come all that way.
I'm not sure about the logistics behind it. Like we just had Asad Ribic and David Finch come down. The logistics of who organizes it, if they express interest or if they get reached to and called to and stuff. So I'm not sure how to organize that. But I'm always like, we often get older, more retired comic book artists. Like, I know he writes, but like, you know, the older sort of, you know, they're anymore. So like to get, you know, Assad and David Finch was pretty cool. To get Tony Moore was pretty cool. Like I would love to get like Hickman or Morrison, you know, stuff like that. But it always seems to be sort of the legends, which are great as well. But yeah.
Does Morrison make many con appearances, Riley? Do you know?
I haven't checked like what the most recent ones that he's done are, but I know he did Morrison Con, and then like I know he was at other conventions in the past few years because I've seen people who went to go see him, but he never comes to the ones that I go to in Texas, because the ones in Texas are kind of similar to the way that the Australian ones sound, where it's mostly, you know, TV and movie people are the huge things, and then you go to Artist Alley and there's some big ones like, you know, I had I think Bob Layton and who else was at that one? Arthur
Adams too.
Neil Adams is always at everything.
Yeah,
they charge you to
$10 to look at him.
I think
don't make eye contact.
Steve Epting, I think Steve Epting was at one, and I got him to sign my Cap Omnis. So I mean I've met several artists, but I've not met as many like huge A-list creators at our conventions. But then again, I haven't been to a convention in a while, so could be my own fault.
They always seem to go to like San Diego and stuff like that too, where it's like, you know, like I heard the whole Jim Lee thing is you've got to basically win a raffle to get into line to meet Jim Lee and stuff like that. So I just heard that.
Maybe I don't even want to meet Jim Lee. Gosh.
Gosh.
It's like win a raffle, like, hey, you have it, I don't want it.
Yeah, I'm hoping for some big names this year at Baltimore. That's where I'm hoping. Unfortunately, George Perez isn't going to be there. I think this MegaCon is his last appearance because of his health this year. But I was really looking forward to seeing George Perez in Baltimore. But I think we're going to have to. I'm hoping other big names go there.
Yeah, like when years ago now. So I think like he's obviously gotten worse. closer, which sucks because I didn't get to go to him. But I remember everyone in line was like, "Can you draw Thanos? Can you draw Thanos? Can you draw Thanos?" And I just felt so sorry. Like, how many times can you draw Thanos doing this? You know, over and over and over and over and over again. But like when I met
flipping people off.
I met what's his name? Adam Davies. Is it Adam? My God, why am I blanking? Did like created Psylocke on that. God, why am I bad at names right now? I did only get 4 hours sleep, so him.
Claremont?
No. Arthur. God damn it! I'm just blanking. I'm just looking up his name. I feel terrible for doing it, but where is it? Oh, what? No. The guy he did the art on New Mutants with Chris Claremont in the like when Cyclops.
Sienkiewicz?
Who?
Bill Sienkiewicz?
No.
Bob McLeod?
Oh, why? Fucking. No, it's like Davies. Someone.
Oh, Alan Davis?
Oh. Alan Davis, thank you. My God, I got a goddamn sketch of Psylocke with like, yeah. Anyway, when he was there, I got probably up there somewhere. The New Mutants annual that she first appeared in the US comics. I got that signed by him, and I was in line, and his line was fairly big, and people kept going up and asking for Batman sketches, which he only did like very minimal work on Batman. And you could just see it on his face. He was just like, oh, you know, another Batman. And he had to draw Batman facing this way now, you know, just to keep it fresh. And I was talking to a guy in line, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to get Psylocke. And he literally looked up at me, and I was like, oh, shit, like I've said something, you know, and in line, and I was like, hey, you know, and he's like, Psylocke, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just don't know if I should get like Betty, like British Betty, or you know, Ninja Psylocke. And he was like kind of playing with me, and he's like, well, I can draw whatever, you know, it's up to you. And I'm like, oh, and he's like, you want a ninja, don't you? And I'm like, yeah, all right. And he's like, all right, we'll do ninja. And he was actually happy because I think he wasn't drawing Batman again. So like, to me, that you would get a guy that's not known for Batman to draw Batman. That's my story.
Well, I think that wraps about everything that I had for us. Jess, did you have anything else that you wanted to pry from Mitch?
No, I'm a little disappointed we didn't see any fairy bread, but other than that, I think he's answered all our questions. I would like to see the toilet in action with clean water, but maybe for another day.
I'll do a live stream.
Literally.
I'll do like the team stream.
No, I think this has been great. We've found out a lot about Australia and your life, and that's really cool. This has been awesome.
Next time we can just talk comics next time. I don't have to talk about myself.
We talked a lot of comics. It's been great.
Yeah, we talk comics. Pretty par for the course, I'd say.
Sorry.
So anyway, then.
So yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for optioning that we have you on the show. It was really just you reaching out and saying, hey, let's do this.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, and then just Luis wasn't in, so I was the ring in for today.
And yeah, it was really a lot of fun. And it's the first time that, and you mentioned this in our chat, but it's the first time that we've actually spoken to each other, quote.
Yeah, live, like actually spoken live.
But anyway,
chats from Megan of you.
Was Riley everything you hoped he would be?
And more.
It is my name.
I get it. Whoa, it just froze on me.
It did?
Yeah. Oh, now I'm back. Not Riley's frozen.
Oh, yeah, Riley is frozen.
Look at him. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Rest in peace, Riley.
I think we lost him.
What a great way to end it.
Riley just frozen right there. Well, we'll give him...
So how you doing, Jesse?
Good. Everything's going well.
We're gonna improvise.
Yeah, I don't know what we should do. If we should wait till he comes back, or if we should end it. He's the one that is in trouble with Megan if he doesn't come back. I mean, if he doesn't
Maybe
end the
Megan.
show.
Maybe she pulled the thing out.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's give him a couple seconds and see if he comes back.
I just tagged him in the admin chat.
Oh, here he is.
Did I freeze?
There he is.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you're frozen.
Yeah, I got a couple of images of you now. One's frozen and one's live.
Taking a photo of that.
That's
I
funny.
don't know what happened. My internet like went all of a sudden just out.
Oh, no, I'm good. Okay, it just disappeared. The other one. But
Yeah,
I got a
did
photo.
you get
of
a
it.
pic of that?
Yeah, it's in the admin
Oh,
chat.
cool.
The
Well, I
image?
mean, I was just about to close it all out, and then all of a sudden it kicked me off. So I guess that's a sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we said. Megan pulled the cord.
But yeah, so I just thanks to everyone. You know, thank you guys for coming on here. Thanks, Mitch, for hanging with us for a couple hours early on your Australian morning. And
Yeah, it's only midday here.
it's late for us now.
Right.
And you know, thanks everyone for coming and watching. And I hope that we all got a good taste of what it's like out there for Australian geeks.
It's tough out here in the wasteland, but you know. We got Furiosa. The comics were actually in the tanker in Mad Max. It wasn't water. It was actually all about omnibuses.
We're trying to get the actual like omnis for cheap across the wasteland.
Yeah. We robbed IST and we're just driving to
That's
Gas Town.
actually an accurate representation of how mail travels in Australia and why your books are so damn.
Yeah. They just throw them in the back of a tanker and just get hardcore, like, you know, raiders to deliver it. That's honestly what it feels like when you get a book. Like I shipped 5 paperbacks to I shipped my entire Sweet Tooth to Alex. She sent him in like bubble wrap with a box, really nice mailer box. He sends me a photo. He's like, "Oh, I got it," and it had 3 holes in the top of it.
3 holes.
I don't know how. Like, and I was like, "Did you do that?" And he's like, "No, that's how it came." And I'm like, "Luckily, I bubble wrapped them. Otherwise, they would have just poked right through the comic." But you know. That's literally the Australian postal system. It's
Holy smoke!
like Ben, our other member, he hears his comics get thrown over his fence and land on the on the driveway. That's not a joke.
Oh my god, that's awful.
The post service, they're running through the Australian wild and just using the boxes to like fend off
Just that.
drop bears and kangaroos.
They get a whale and they're just like that when they run through. So that's what sucks. I can't even hold my like Punisher omnibus over y'all now because the reprint's coming. So that's not something that I can.
Well, you have Annihilation. That's the equivalent now.
That's true. Yeah. What else? Yeah. And I've got the John Byrne Fantastic Four that's apparently disappearing.
Yeah, that's a new out of print book now? All of a sudden, I didn't know that it had gone out of print. Number 1, John Byrne.
Yeah, it's going. It's going.
Huh. Good thing I bought 45 copies of it. Now I can make a fortune.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna wrap her up now officially. So thank you guys for joining in. Jess, do you want to
Thank you.
let them know where they can find you?
Sure. I have a YouTube channel. It's called Omnidog's Vault. And I just started it a couple of weeks ago. So if you want to go there, I review books and do hauls and other stuff there. And I'm also on Riley's Facebook page, the Omnibus Collectors Comic Swap and Community. Yes! I got it.
Yeah.
So I'm on there as an admin and general goofball.
And do you, Mitch, do you have anywhere that you want people to find you?
I don't want people to find me.
Really not.
No, I don't have a YouTube or anything. I consume, I don't create. So, I mean, I'm on Instagram. I post a lot of my comics on there, so that's just let loose the crack. And yeah, and Facebook, I'm an admin at that silly page. And
Silly page.
Some
That's
say
the
the
way of
best admin.
life. It's my
Some
life.
say the best admin and the most favorite admin that everyone loves. Yeah. So yeah.
Let loose the Kraken.
So thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, not a problem, man. We'll do it again sometime.
Now I know how all this magic works. I'll definitely come back.
All right. Well, I'm gonna wrap her. I'm gonna close this one off if I can just find the button to. I think my controls
anyone still-
actually disappeared for the